Yes, I'm Bill White. I'm an ex-serviceman, Royal Air Force, but I served in Korea 1953 and 1954. Fisan at first, Osan, and then over with the Koreans at Kunsan. That's on the west coast. A number of places, not as an active combatant, more as an engineer. Investigation on the performance, maintenance and such for the forthcoming F-86F, the Sabre, the American Sabre, North American. The armistice was being spoken about in 1953 when I first went there. Not that it made much difference to the service camps that I was on. I was deployed to the Korean War from the British, but also from the Australians. And the Americans, they said, well, the only place we've got Sabres is here. The only place you'll learn about them is in Korea. I didn't go to Korea first. I went to Japan, the Australian 77 group maintenance in Japan. That was the place I first went to, hoping to see some like repairs and maintained Sabres. They never had any. What they did have of interest, they brought back on a truck, they brought back a MiG-15. And that's the first time I ever saw one of these aircraft, bit smashed up, battered. It was on the back of a truck. But I had a good look at it and I formed an opinion that, looking at it, it wasn't much of an aeroplane to be frightened of. The shortage of equipment there, the Americans had plenty. The Americans had everything, including beer cans, and they had all sorts of stuff down there. Plenty of food, so I didn't go without food. The only thing that I didn't have that the Americans had, when the winter was starting to come, but I only had an ordinary uniform. And the Americans were good. They fitted me out with one of these bomber jackets, the helmet, boots, all like sheepskin with fleece inside, beautifully warm. And somewhere to stay, because up to that time I've been living mostly in tents. Very difficult if you wanted to shower, clean up. If you wanted to wash your underclothes, do it yourself. No laundry, nothing like that. So you've got to go in the shower, rinse your underpants out and your vests and such. I had a couple of shirts. In the end, the Americans said, yeah, wear some t-shirts, man, they're easier. And that's what I did. I never had to wear a collar and tie. In the Royal Air Force, you wear a collar and tie at all times, even when I'm doing maintenance on aircraft. Maintenance would have been difficult, but that was one of the observations I had to make. The difference between the American use of tooling and the availability of the tooling to do the job, or the equipment supplied by the Australians. The Koreans didn't have very much at all. I mean, the Koreans didn't have, I should say, more than equipment required for civil use, not military use. The whole runway was steel. It wasn't grass, it wasn't bitumen, it was steel. That actually extended this. It was a new process to like fill in holes, dump bumps, stop sinkage. It was fantastic, but I'd never seen it before. It was Christmas time when everybody went home, and I was still at Kunsan. Mr. Park and his wife, what was her name? Chusi. They're two children, one of 8 and a girl of about 6, I think. They looked very, very well. They'd been in like a military place. They looked like they'd been pretty well looked after. I can't say much for the rest of the people I met in South Korea at that time. Devastation, bad clothes, not much food, nowhere you could go for a bulgogi or whatever. Yeah. Kimchi or no, they couldn't get. We had kimchi on the camp in Kunsan, and I couldn't eat it. Going back was an eye opener because it was a totally different country. It's a beautiful country. I only saw some of it, and the younger people, they've got to get the politics developed to get the country back as one country again. There is no difference between North and South people. It's a shame because Korea was a beautiful country. I'd like to see all of the country. It's a shame, but I'd love to see more of Korea. One day I hope to be able to go back there. They asked me to go back last year, but with my wife sick, I couldn't do that. There's another one of these Korean return to Korea sequences on next year, I believe. As I say, at my age, because I'm near enough 90 now, I can still remember quite. In fact, I can remember, and this is the bad part, I can remember because it was bad memories. There weren't very many good. When I stayed with the Korean couple with their children, that was the new year, 1953, 54, early like January 54. That's the only time then that I'd met real Korean people. Fantastic people. Oh, the place I'd like to go back to see is Kunsan. That was the worst time I had, but it was also the best time I had.